What's going on, people? It's the Xbot 448, and today is a fairly special video. It is Friday the 13th, so I did put some, Infection gameplay. I was playing Infection a lot last night. I put in some of my gameplay, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Not only that, I figured since it is Friday the 13th, let's go into a little bit of a darker topic when it comes to gaming and gaming news. And so I decided to really give you guys my thoughts about the media bias. I know there's been arguments going back and forth when it comes to these major websites, the IGNs, the GameSpots. There's people arguing back and forth that, there's media bias when it comes to Sony, favoring Sony. Oh, there isn't any bias, just look at last generation and stuff like that. So there's an argument that's been going on basically this entire generation about this. Now, the way I've seen it, from the articles that have been reported, how they're presented, how they're worded, and everything like that, I can't help to think, but yeah, there is a certain bias going on in the media. Now, with this video, I want to let you know why I think that is, alright? And there are a couple things here that kind of add up together. It makes kind of like a snowball effect, if you will. Now, one of the things I don't hear a lot of people talk about is these journalists, alright? Now, when I look at these journalists, I look at the age of most of these people that are writing the articles, and it seems that, the majority of them have grown up in what I like to call the PlayStation age. It's PS1, PS2. Sony at that point in time with the PlayStation was completely dominant, alright? And I know almost for a fact, I have memories attached to at least the PS1. I never bought a PS2, guys. But there are memories attached with these journalists and stuff like that to a brand, and that brand is PlayStation. A bunch of either childhood memories, just a lot of gaming memories and stuff like that. You put that together with the fact that, these journalists do feel they have a certain amount of power in the community. They're a part of major gaming websites that get clicks, that have people, read their articles and stuff like that. And if you see Sony's finances, especially the beginning of this generation, and how much trouble they were in, if so much of your gaming life or even childhood life is invested into memories from a specific brand, wouldn't you want to be able to use your quote-unquote power to help them out? I'm not saying that all journalists have done this, but I think this is one of the factors that have kind of snowballed this situation into what it is today. And it's the fact that, these guys, they don't want to see these memories fade into dust because the company that they had these memories just went away. Basically went bankrupt. They're not around anymore. So I feel that they used what power they felt they had and really started to make articles that favored Sony. You could like me, you could hate me, whatever, but I look at things and I report them as I see them, and this is one of the things that I have seen, alright? I kind of dive a little bit deeper than some people I know in terms of coming up with solutions and, explanations for things. But if you add that together with the launch of these systems and Microsoft's complete fumbling of the launch of the X1. And when I say complete fumbling, I talk about their lack of explanation, all right? How people, that were around the development of the X1 weren't on the same page. They explained things very vaguely. Different people said different things. Like I said, they weren't on the same page. They completely fumbled the launch of the X1, all right? So then there was this huge backlash, and everything was rolling in Sony's favor. And Sony started to advertise with what I call guerrilla tactic advertisement with, oh, this is the way we trade our games and stuff like that. But that's for another thing. But you can see the wave riding in Sony's favor. So now you take these journalists that have this attachment to a brand, right? And you kind of put that together with their bosses. Now you got to remember, these major gaming websites and stuff like that, they depend on clicks. They depend on views. You know, it's one of the things that supplies their source of income and stuff like that. So if you have this wave going pro Sony, all right, because of Microsoft not being able to explain anything with their system, it leaves the door open for these journalists to be able to favor one side over the other and have their supervisors not really say much. All right, because they're going to get the clicks, they're going to get the views, they're going to get the hits, and in the end, these journalists personally are like, well, hey, you know, I'm helping out on my own agenda. Like I said, I don't think this is every single journalist, all right? I'm not saying every single gaming news website is biased and stuff like that, but I do see something when it comes to the major websites, all right? Just look at, like, Beyond Two Souls. All right, Beyond Two Souls last generation, when it got reviews, I know there's some of them were really good, but there were other ones that would say, you know, the pacing of the story, like, felt really jagged. You know, going from the main character's childhood to full-grown adult in a scenario, back to childhood, but then also over to teenager, and then back to childhood, and then a different scenario as an adult. They said the story, like the pacing was all over the place, and they took away on the review because of that. You know, stuff like that. But then when, you know, people are talking about a remaster this generation, you know, that same place is kind of like hyping that whole thing up now. Now it's okay, even though they gave it a mediocre score before. Like I said, like this bias thing is kind of snowballing. It's going to be real interesting to see kind of what happens in the future. You know, with the rumors of Microsoft coming out with a more powerful system, an upgradable system, if you look at it without any kind of bias, without any kind of brand sunglasses on, you know what I'm saying? Where you can only see one brand and not the other. Microsoft has come out with game after game when it comes to the X1. New IPs with like Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Son of Rome, you know, sequels, Halo 5, Forza 6, Forza Horizon 2. You know, we've been getting a lot of like really good games. Unfortunately, with the bias, you know, I don't think they've been reported on an even level compared to like Sony games, where a lot of like the journalists are kind of touting indies and stuff like that. And you know, Sony hasn't produced a lot of games. I know people talk about the JRPGs. JRPGs don't really sell well, don't have a lot of interest with me. I mean, I like Final Fantasy VII. I'm excited for that remake to see what they're doing with that. But a lot of stuff that they're kind of showing off on Sony's side isn't, you know, a lot of indies and stuff like that. And then you have Uncharted 4, which is a quality game. But with the sparseness that kind of came before that, you know, people are hailing it as the end-all, be-all, 10 out of 10 and stuff like that. But it's not really like that. I see a lot of the consumers were thirsty. So when this quality game came out, it was hyped to a higher level because of that thirst issue. All right, that's what I see. But all in all, I mean, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because Microsoft comes out with a more powerful system. They already have the games. You have a gamer in charge of that with Phil Spencer, who, you know, who listens to their consumer base. And that's something I don't see Sony doing that often. But then again, that's something I don't see these media outlets talking about, how, you know, Microsoft is really listening to their consumer base and how Sony kind of is doing their own thing, you know? But that's pretty much it for now, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the Infection gameplay. I have a little bit more. It's probably going to run on a little bit past, you know, me talking and stuff like that. But as usual, guys, you know, I want to hear what you think about this, so definitely hit up the comment section. Can you see what I'm talking about when it comes to the journalists, you know, trying to use what power they feel they have to keep the brand that they grew up with together? You know, I'm not knocking them for it, but, like, it's something I do see, all right? And can you see with their supervisors, and the way that the launches of the consoles kind of kicked off, it kind of left the door open, you know, for their supervisors to let certain articles pass through. Like I said, it's what I see, guys, but definitely hit up that comment section. I want to know what you guys think. If you like the content, you like the gameplay, definitely hit that thumbs up button for me. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe. But as for now, this is the Xbot 448, and I am definitely signing off.
Game over. Red team wins.